Ladies and gentlemen, summoners and sorcerers, welcome back to the Grand Arena of DSA. This is Dragon, your host here at DSG, and today we are going to be talking about a farming guide today, actually, and it's going to be a focus on the free-to-play players out there, because I once was a true free-to-play player in this game, and then Glue just sucked me in, and now I'm more of a semi-free-to-play player. I do the VIP pass. I haven't done a passport in a while, probably like 2 or 3 months already. But I will do some Tapjoy games, some Tapjoy offers. So here and there, I'm more or less a semi-free-to-play player. I don't whale out in this game whatsoever. But anyways, let's look a little bit in depth here about some farming and what I consider some good farming tips. You don't have to follow this guide completely. It's all totally up to you. Again, this is a game, and there's different routes you can go. If you want to go for your favorite characters, if your favorite character is, Emperor's New Groove, you want Isma and Kronk, by all means, farm the hell out of them, get them to tier 8, max them out, do whatever you have to do. But if you want the competitive side over here, there's other characters you can go for, and I think this is going to help you guys in the right direction, of course. Let's just do a quick overview of the different phases that we have here. Now, this is one, obviously, big image over here. We have 4 phases here. So you have phase 1, which would be your legendary characters, followed by phase 2, which would be your oceanic and raid-oriented characters and your plug-and-play characters. Not all the plug-and-play characters, just optional plug-and-play characters, some of the better plug-and-play characters, per se. Now we have phase 3A and phase 3B. Phase 3A is going to be your material events, and phase 3B is going to be your event lock characters. Now, the reason why there's 3A and 3B instead of phase 3 and 4, because really you can go either direction. If you want to go materials events first, that's totally fine. If you want to go events first, that's totally fine. And you can go really either way, but because it's just to your discretion, there's no force for which side you can go, because really, actually, no matter which side you go to, some of the characters will carry over into the other side, so they'll help you out either way. And our next phase is going to be phase 4, which is going to be your synergies and sub-top tier characters. And basically, there's going to be your characters that just aren't, the greatest, but they still have potential, and there's some synergies here. When talking about synergies, it's really just the Incredibles team that has some synergy. Discard Frozone, but Frozone's up here too if you want to farm him. But there are decisions here you can make. But this is really the end of the line, more or less, to say for what you can do, what you can choose for the farming of, like, when you get towards to late game. Because really, once you finish the first four phases, it's really a toss-up if we want to go for at the end of the day after that. Now, we do have a special category which we're going to go into later, because that's going to be focused on just a select handful characters. Now, just some, a warning, guys. We don't have Sensational 6 Part 2 yet. At the time of this recording, we do have Sensational 6 Part 1 right now, but that's probably going to be followed by Sensational 6 Part 2 fairly soon. And we do have Miguel, but Miguel is not farmable yet. He's a paid-to-play character right now. And that's also another reason why I wanted to make this guide, was because we just hit our 100th character, which is Miguel. Granted, you can only play 98 characters. Miguel is one of the characters you can play now. He's a 98th playable character, but 100th character overall. And looking forward to see how that all pans out with that mythical team. But anyways, guys, before we get started completely, I would love to ask you guys, if you haven't done so yet, please like and subscribe. That would be such a big help for me. We are so close to reaching 150 subscribers, and that would be a huge milestone for me. And if you get 200 subscribers by the end of 2020, that would be a huge accomplishment. My original goal was 250 by the end of the year, but if you can get 200, that would just put some icing on the cake. And if we can manage to get to 250, that would just be, worlds beyond that. That would just be super icing on the cake. you know. So I really appreciate that and really help our journey moving in this community. If you haven't done so, please look at our Discord down below, and also check out our Twitch stream. We have about 150 followers there, and we're growing, and we're getting some consistent subs and stuff like that, so that's growing as well. And yeah, looking forward to see you guys, whichever realm you go, whichever platform you guys see me. Chat with me on Discord. Always there. Love to chat with you guys. Anyways, let's get formally started into this and start with phase 1, our legendaries. Now, just to do a quick overview how this is going to work. As you can see, there is a blue line on the bottom there, and each section or each phase has a different colored line corresponding to the theme there, and it's going to go left to right from who you should farm first. And we also have the different categories here. We have Grand Campaign, we have Campaign or Elite Battles, we have Sources Tournament, and we also have Club Coins here where you can get these guys. So the Tournament Exchange and the Club Coins, not as many characters of course, but there's still some things you can get there. So let's start off with the first batch of characters. So as you can see in the Elite Battles and Grand Campaign, we have Big Hero 6 first tier. Now Big Hero 6 is still a fairly usable team. Hero's still a very broken character in some senses. He's literally, he can be put like in any team and he just works like a charm. Now, how I farm my Elite Battles characters and my Grand Campaign characters is that I do use the 3 100 gem refreshes for Hero and Grand Campaign characters, and I also use 3 50 refreshes for Elite Battles. So that comes out to roughly about 450 gems a day. Like I said, I do place fairly high in Sources Tournament. I do watch all my ads and everything like that, so it kind of evens out, or at least about a midpoint of my expenditure of gems correlating to how much my intake of gems a day. So it almost washes out, but it doesn't completely. So I am running at a slight negative every day, but I do have my tab choy games and all that kind of stuff to really help offset those costs, for instance. And that's what I recommend for you guys as well. If you want to farm, my farming method, how I get these guys really quick. But also, I have a specific technique called focus farming, where, for instance, for Grand Campaign characters, and this is just for even for my mid game or late game players who are watching this, how I farm my characters is I go from 0 stars or whenever I can lock them to 7 stars, because if I can't do that, they're not usable for me, at least at my level right now. I'm gonna be level 70 soon, and if I don't get these guys to 7 stars, there's really no use for me to use them. 6 stars can barely cut it, 5 stars don't even try it, and really 7 stars is the only way I can use these guys effectively on the battlefield. So what I do is I focus farm one character to 7 stars, and for my early game players, you guys can probably get away with like a 4-star, 5-star character, but once you get like past level 50, you really got to focus on getting these guys to 6 and 7 stars. So you might want to even just use my technique early on, but it might slow you down in the overall progression in the game. So that's why I say if you can get these guys to maybe 4 or 5 stars in the early game, that's totally fine. Around level 40, that's where level 40 for me is like a cutoff for early game, and mid game is roughly like levels 40 to like 55, and 55 beyond is kind of like late game to me at least. And that's how I would categorize it. Now, when I look at these characters, these Big Hero 6 team, yes, they're not the most recent legendary team, but they're still very useful. And I personally farm 3 Elite Battle characters at a time, and I rotate, because I'm on part of a club, you get the extra refresh. I rotate the refresh between each character. So like one day I'll do Fred, for instance, with the extra free refresh. Then I'll do Honey Lemon the next day, then Wasabi the next day, and then go back to Fred. That's how I would do it. That's my current farming technique for Elite Battles, and then just focus farm one at a time these characters over here. Now that was kind of long, but that's just gonna be the longest part of this, because it's going to be you know, that's how I would farm everything else, so you don't have to repeat myself later on. But anyways, Sorcerer's Tournament over here, I have Anna. She's really the only character in the legendary teams you can farm in the Sorcerer's Exchange or Tournament Exchange, so it's kind of unfortunate, but the glue doesn't have any intentions to update the exchanges really, so you're going to be kind of stuck with her in here. And now lastly, you have Kristoff here. As you can see here, gear only after Kristoff. That's because really, if you guys are going to farm Kristoff in the club coins and you're new to the game, totally fine. If you're like more, like if you're level 15 above and you're farming Kristoff there, I get it, it's an easy out, but you really should be using those coins to upgrading gear for your characters, especially late game players. If you don't have, have Elsa max out and stuff like that by the time like level 65 or something. Granted, it could have been because of when the event came around, but you really should be using those club coins on gear only later on in the game. But if you're early in the game, you're not really focused on tier 4 and tier 5 gear, you can get away with farming Kristoff early in the game. But that, like I said, that really only works early in the game. And also you can farm in elite battles. That's another way you can do it. But guys, when you farm all these guys and get them to 7 stars in gear tier 6, at least for Baymax and Beast, that's how you do it. Once you get their teams to 7 stars in gear tier 6, you can unlock Beast and Baymax to 7 stars. And for Elsa, you just need her Frozen team to 7 stars, and that's how you unlock Elsa. I think that Elsa was like the first legendary, so her event was a little bit friendly comparative to the other characters, but that's okay. I totally appreciate that because it was a lot easier to get Elsa than the other characters, and I still use Elsa to this day. So don't skimp out on Elsa. The reason also I have them in this order is because the Big Hero 6 team is also considered a Downtown Heroes team, and for Tower 2 you need Downtown Heroes, and then for Tower 3 you're going to need these Kingdom characters, and then for Towers 4 and 5 you're going to need some Wilds characters, so you have your Sven and Kristoff here as well to help you guys with that tower. And once you unlock Elsa, you're going to get help with Towers 4 and 5 anyways, and 4 and 5 really are more for like later mid game, even late game, so totally understandable to leave them there. Now as we move on to phase 2, these are going to be your Oceanics, your raid oriented characters and plug and play characters. But let's just say, for instance, that you finish Anna from Sorcerer's Exchange first. It's totally fine, even if you're still farming within phase 1 legendaries. Go on and start farming Merlin, because it's going to help you progress, and also you don't just want to hoard those coins completely while there's still good characters out there to farm. So that's why I say right after Anna, just go straight into Merlin. Now I will say, as you can see here, these Bubbles and Gantu here are going to be really key for raids, and actually Bubbles is another really key plug and play character, super useful. And by unlocking all these Oceanics here, that's how you're going to get Moana, that's how you're going to get Maui and Triton. And Stitch needs specifically Bubbles and Gantu, and also some mythicals. So now that you are farming in this realm, you have Olaf, you're also going to have Merlin. You're going to start farming Merlin anyways, so that's going to help you get Stitch as well. And guys, Stitch and Moana, super effective, super useful in dealing damage in raids, so do not miss out on them. They're going to be, Stitch for sure is going to be the slow grind, but he's going to be super useful later on, so don't worry, you're going to get him, he's going to be useful, and it's going to pay off in the long run. As you can see here, we have Prince Eric and Ariel. That's how you're going to get Triton. Granted, they were pretty advertised for the raids, but they're really not the greatest team. But they're still useful, they still can do some damage, and they're going to be a fairly useful raid team and can be put together with some other characters to be a fairly effective raid team. So don't, they're not going to be the main focus, but they're still going to be a good one to use out there. Now as you see here, Captain Hook has that orange circle, orange outline around him, and the reason why I have that is because it's really optional. Let's say you want to get Moana and fully 7-star her, you're going to need another character, so Captain Hook might be that one character for you. Or if you can get some of these other characters, if you happen to do the Stitch and Triton Tower, that might be a better use for you, those characters. But Captain Hook is going to be there and may be useful in that sense to get these characters. Now, as you can see, following up by Captain Hook is going to be Sheriff Nottingham and Scrooge. Sheriff and Scrooge are some of the most effective plug and play characters, and they can deal a lot of damage with their specials, so look out for them. Actually, Sheriff Nottingham kind of he's a little broken of a character, so you're going to get a big benefit from using him because he's going to be dealing a lot of damage. Now, Shere Khan is another optional character here. His kit is a bit bland. He's one of the early on characters, but he can still have some uses as well. I've seen him being useful in raids as well. But if you don't farm him here, you're going to farm him in phase 3A, so look out for that as well. He can be useful there. Now, as you see, for elite battles, really only good plug and play character, and also really raid good player is going to be Dash. And Dash is just recently became farmable. Actually, Dash would have been in phase 3B if it wasn't for about a month ago when they added the Incredibles to be farmable. So definitely keep an eye out for Dash. He's going to be useful helping a Flotsam and Jetsam. I highly recommend you guys going after him as well. So now let's talk about tournament exchange down here. As you can see, we have Merlin, followed by Ariel, and then the last three guys over here that we haven't talked about yet. It's going to be Shan Yu, Big Bad Wolf, and Hades. For my earlier players who have been playing for a while, these guys were definitely some of the more sought after characters early in the game. I'm talking about like launch, April, May, June, around there. But they've slowly fallen down the rankings, and unfortunately, they're still decent players. They can be plug and play characters. Shan Yu's speed lead is still decent for a kingdom team for Club Conquest, but the most useful for me personally is going to be Big Bad Wolf. He can purge the taunt at tier 7, and he's still fairly decent player, and you're going to need him to get Zerg as well, so keep out for that. But don't get too crazy about him. He's not god tier or anything like that. He's just still a fairly usable character, so keep that in mind. I don't want to overhype him in any way, but for my earlier game players, he can still be fairly useful. But later on, just not the greatest. Even at tier 7, but maybe tier 8, might boost him up a little bit. But until we get a lot more tier 8s out there, he's not going to be that usable yet, in my opinion. But that pretty much wraps it up for phase 2 in the Oceanics. Some plug and play characters. Like I said, these last 3 characters here are really going to be the most useful for spending those tournament coins, because besides that, it goes downhill after that. Let's just say that about tournament coins. Anyways, let's go. We're going to go to phase 3A for materials here. So we have more options over here. As you can see, this first event we're going to be talking about here, this is going to be for Scrooge Money Bin Heist. You're going to need some downtown villains characters. So you already have Big Bad Wolf if you farmed him for tournament exchange. If you haven't, continue farming him. Then you have Facilier in there as well. So after Big Bad Wolf or something like that, go for Facilier. Is going to help you get that Scrooge Money Bin Heist. Then you also have Chunk, and Chunk's actually usable later as well to unlock Lotso and Big Baby. And then you also have Demona, Syndrome, and Yakai. Yakai has some benefits in Club Conquest, so it's really going to be up to your decision. Besides, between Syndrome and Demona, just choose whoever you want to at that point. But there are some events that you don't have to worry about anymore, and that's going to be actually Rune Rumble. Rune Rumble is a Downtown Heroes event, and that's going to help you obviously get more runes. So you're going to you're not going to have to worry about that anymore if you've finished off and then completed your Big Hero 6 team. So let's talk about the stone events, guys. And I want to give a quick shout out to DSA Guide. This is where I got these graphics on the screen that you're going to see coming up. Nakunaru was the artist. I could not find him, unfortunately, give him a shout out and stuff like that. But I do want to thank DSA Guide for having us on their server, and pretty much it's a free server and you can use all the graphics and stuff like that, so it's really cool and I really greatly appreciate it. Anyways, let's talk about these events here. Now, Coastal Conflict is going to give you guys speed and defensive stones. Speed stones are pretty key in this game, and that's it. It's going to just help you tremendously, but they are going to be unlocked using Oceanics. So if you already finished your Oceanic team, you should be pretty set for this event over here. So you don't have to worry about it too much. If you've already farmed your Oceanics in the previous phase, this is going to be a walk in the park for you. There's also defensive stones you can get out of here, and those are going to help you really just with Simba. Simba's like the only character people really use defensive stones on. The rest of the other tanks that people usually have put on are going to be health stones, but that's a different event. But Coastal Conflict is probably one of the best ones because you get speed stones, but it's also one of the easiest ones if you've already farmed in phase 2 your Oceanics. So let's follow it up. We're gonna look at the Spectral Standoff. Now the Spectral Standoff does have a critical chance stone, which is the orange stone, and the pink stones are the health stones. So for my tanks out there, like your Freds, your Kristoffs for instance, Baymax, health stones are going to help you guys so much. So this is going to be a big event for that. So you're gonna need your mythical characters. So you already have Olaf, you already have Merlin, and you should have Hades at this point. So that's why I have here, you can farm Sally. Sally's a pretty good continuous damage dealer. She can put up the continuous damage team. She's decent mythical as well with her little spells and whatnot and potions. And you have Madam Mim as well. Madam Mim technically doesn't do continuous damage, but she does have some harmful effect bonuses, so definitely look out for her as well. She's a great character to farm. That's why I have her in the Sorcerer's Exchange. She's probably one of the last good characters to farm out of the tournament exchange. I keep on calling it different things, I'm sorry guys. But definitely look out for them. And that's gonna get your health stones and your critical chance stones, but not really people use the orange stones, unfortunately. So that's just how the game is right now. Now let's look at the final stone event, which is gonna be Ferocious Face Off. And you need your wilds characters here. This is where you get your recovery stones, your critical damage stones, and your offense stones. Offense stones are probably one of the better stones in here for those characters that do need it. But you're gonna need wilds, and wilds is one of the probably the most neglected characters out, or character sets out here. So I would farm. You have a choice here. If you don't have Elsa yet, but you have Kristoff and Sven, you can farm Shere Khan and Simba. Those are who I would add to that wilds team. And possibly if you wanted to, you can also farm Mordu. He's the last one here. Mordu is an option too. And actually you might want to farm Mordu if you're having a slow time getting Simba, for instance, because elite battles can take a while. But with the Scar event, Scar is also another decent wilds character you can get out of it too. He's kind of fallen down the rankings for sure, but still a very viable character for just the simple event here, the Ferocious Face Off. So this is gonna end it for your materials events phase 3A. Now let's take a look. Moving on to phase 3B, your event log characters. Now there's a lot of characters here for one, but this is how you're gonna get some decent characters out of these event log characters. Unfortunately, not all the event log characters are great. Some of them are just okay, some of them are bad, but they can still be useful. So let's start off with who I go first. You can see we have Edom Barley here. Edom Barley are going to be very key to get Manticore, and actually the only way you can get Manticore is through them. And that event is so useful to get some gold and to get some good characters overall, and not good characters, but good gear overall, good health gear. So Edom Barley also very useful in raids. I could have put them in the raids category, but I wanted to keep them separate from the Oceanics and stuff and put them more in the event log characters. And they're very, very useful, very effective. Now, if you want to get Zerg, you're going to have to get your downtown villains done. So if you are doing 3A, you'll be all set for Zerg, so nothing to worry about there. And now we also have Jafar, and Jafar is another character. Decent character. His event's not the greatest. It's one of the first events, I believe, so you actually don't get Jafar to 7 stars when you do this event, which kind of doesn't make any sense to me. But Jasmine, Genie, and Aladdin, some great decent players as well. And if you're getting stuck and need more kingdom characters, they're an awesome kingdom pack over there. The old school kingdom team was them. But moving on from them, actually Gizmo Duck, if you already have your Big Hero 6 team, I forgot to mention this. If you already have your Big Hero 6 team, you don't have to worry about Gizmo Duck. Gizmo Duck is going to be taken care of because you need some tech team characters, and with that event, you should be all taken care of. Now, following Gizmo Duck, you can see we have Simba and Rafiki. That's where you're going to get your Scar, and Scar's a decent character, and Simba and Simba's going to be great for a tank. He doesn't do too much damage, but my gosh, can he take damage? If you look at his kit, defense, put a defense stone on him, he's even a better tank. He just absorbs the damage, and it's amazing how much damage he actually can take with his defense being so high, which really helps. And then following up with getting Scar, you have your Sensational 6 Part 1 team over here, plus Sorcerer's Mickey, because you actually need more Mickey and Friends characters. So technically Big Bad Wolf is Mickey and Friends characters. It's a Mickey and Friends character, and so is Sorcerer's Mickey. So you're probably going to need these guys to unlock Pluto and Minnie, or some combination of that. So definitely keep an eye out for these guys, as they're going to be useful for that. Now, as you can see, we can also get Bo Peep, and she's going to be our last character here. Buzz Lightyear, Jesse, and Woody, not the greatest characters. Buzz is going to be somewhat effective early on in the game, but later on, he just doesn't cut it out. So, unfortunately, you know, Toy Story probably, I would think, would be one of the best teams. Unfortunately, they're not right now, at least. But you never know, they could get a buff, there could be a rework on them, and they could become an effective team, so keep an eye out for that as well. And if you're wondering, I also forgot Lotso and Big Baby. Like I said earlier, you need chunks. So once you on the way to unlocking Zurg, you can also, that's also going to help you unlock Big Baby and Lotso, and you're going to need chunk for that. So that's going to pretty much wrap it up for this Phase 3B event, or Phase 3B event lock characters. So we're going to go to our final phase now of this farming guide, and that's going to be Phase 4, your synergies, and really just the remaining characters, and really the top tier, top usable characters. That's just a fancy way of saying just the not so good characters. But as you can see here, we have really the Incredibles team has kind of fallen down, but they're starting to rise again, especially since now they're farmable, and they've had some just a tad bit of reworks in terms of the passive for Mr. Incredible to make the team a little bit more effective. But now they can be farmable in the elite battles and also grand campaign. Basically at this point, if you finished everyone else before this, it's really up to you how you're going to farm these guys. If they can be in elite battles, use elite battles as well in conjunction with grand campaign. Now Frozone doesn't have to be farmed with these guys. He can be farmed, you know, towards later in the run, and you can see I kind of group these guys in almost like in a tier as well. But followed up by the Incredibles team is going to be Robin Hood, Mulan, and Korra. Now Robin Hood and Mulan are going to be a kingdom team. They can be somewhat useful in raids as well. Now we have seen some testing with Mulan for turn meter, for instance, in raids, but I don't know how effective that's going to be. But she can be used with Belle, and I've been told she can be very effective, so look out for them as well. Followed that up by Jack Skellington and Oogie Boogie. Now these guys could get a boost with Miguel, and that could boost them up, and you can use them maybe want to farm them a little earlier. It's really up to you how you want to do it. Now follow these guys up with Sully, Merida. You have Sergeant Calhoun and Randall. So these guys, just they're not bottom of the bucket, but they're not, you know, anywhere near like good tiers. So I'm gonna put them in the middle, and these guys can be pretty much farmed in conjunction with Jack and Oogie Boogie. These guys just don't have a team. That's the best way to put it. They just don't have a team in synergy yet. So hopefully when their film characters, more of their film characters come to the game, we'll see them jump in usage as well. Now the last remaining batch over here, at least for the elite battles and grand campaign farming, Queen of Hearts, Pocahontas, Pete, Gaston, Hopper, Monterey Jack, and Yzma. Now these guys unfortunately just don't have any, you know, redeeming qualities or anything like that. They're not the greatest plug and play characters. Now some people might argue for Hopper, for instance, but that's really up to your discretion. Now let's move on to the tournament coins, the tournament exchange. We have over here, we have Judy Hopps, we have Anger, going to be probably the last two pretty decent or good characters to farm out of here. I expect the Inside Out crew to really improve, and Anger to really improve later on once his team comes in. And same thing with Judy Hopps. When Zootopia comes in, I expect her to get better. Really, a lot of these characters, the reason why they're bottom tier is just because they just don't have a team to be with, and that's unfortunate. For instance, like Tinkerbell, she could probably work well with a Peter Pan crew, so maybe when they come around, she'll be a lot better of a character. You have Horn King, you have Jangles the Clown, and you have Kronk down here as well. It's really up to you how you guys want to farm these guys. Basically, after Anger and Judy Hopps, it's really a toss-up of who you guys want to farm in here for usable characters and the like. And at the last one here, we do have club coins. Now, I told you don't want to use your club coins unless you really have to. Unfortunately, Jack Sparrow and Baloo are almost club coin exclusive characters. Baloo can be farmed, I believe, in the premium exchange, but he's also going to be farmed for club coins. Highly recommend you guys do not farm him here. Not the most usable character. And also Captain Jack. Captain Jack used to be useful before. If you still want to use him, if you're struggling with the Oceanics, he's another character you can farm here, but I just don't see the value anymore. He's not that great of a character. But there is some use from him. Every time you do complete Club Conquest, you also get coins for Jack as well, so just keep that in mind. But that's going to wrap it up for Phase 4. I hope you guys, this made some sense to you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this phase, because it's really, unfortunately, I don't want to say all these characters are bad. Like I said earlier, they just don't have a team to use them with, and once they have a team to use them with, I think they'll be better. But let's go to our final phase, which is going to be your unique unlock characters. Now, Miguel is here because we don't have a way of farming it besides a paywall, and also Davy Jones and Steamboat Mickey are a little bit unique in how you unlock them. So Davy Jones, the only way you can unlock him is through Club Conquest. So as long as your team does well in Club Conquest, you'll eventually unlock Davy Jones. So Steamboat Mickey has a unique way of getting unlocked. Every time, well, once you get a 7-star character, every time you get a character token for that character, those character tokens become token exchange. And one character token for a 7-star character becomes 10 tokens in the token exchange, and once you get 150, you'll be able to get one character token for Steamboat Mickey. So it does take a little while to unlock Steamboat Mickey, because he does have a very unique way of getting him. There was a little boost to unlocking him when he was part of PvP, that seasonal thing, but besides that, that's the only way you can get your Steamboat Mickey. So keep that in mind, guys. He is going to take a while. He's a decent character. He's not the greatest, but you know, rework, getting to tier 8 and stuff like that, maybe gets a little boost, you never know. But as we look forward, this is how these characters are still probably going to be unlocked, and Miguel's going to probably get moved out of this category once he a little bit longer in the game. He's going to probably find a space. Probably going to be farmed like hero in elite battles and grand campaign. We have to wait and see, and you never know. By the time this is uploaded, that might be disclosed already, so we don't know yet. Like I said, this game it changes so quickly that things can become old news or out of date really quick. So like I said, guys, thank you so much. It's going to end it for our farming guide. If you haven't done so yet, please help us get to 150, and if not 250 by the end of the year. That would be super awesome. If you guys enjoyed this and this was helpful, please share this. That is the only way that we can really help people out there in this farming guide, is to really share it and get the word out there. And if you haven't done so yet, please check out our Twitch and our Discord. Discord's popping right now. That's great conversations over there, helping with each other. A great place where you can talk to me, ask questions. There's some great people out there who can help answer your questions as well. Anyways, guys, thank you so much, and I hope to see you guys soon. Have a good one.